Well, hey folks, my name is Brad, and today I have hiked way up into the mountains of Vermont, and I brought my metal detector because this is a very special, old place. I've recently been going through my past videos and clipping some of my favorite finds to edit down into shorts to post on YouTube and Instagram and my Facebook, and I was reminded of my luckenbooth brooch, a beautiful silver brooch from the middle of the 1700s that depicts two hearts and a crown, but unfortunately a small piece was broken and missing, and I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if I could find that missing piece? So we've returned here to where people used to live in the 1700s, and where right over there I found that luckenbooth brooch. Now, if this is one of my first videos that you've seen, I post one of these every single Friday, so if you like what you see today, consider subscribing or just come on back next week. I'm gonna get started and see if we can find that missing piece. Well, perhaps you can see how deep this hole is. Put my pinpointer down here. Pretty much the whole length of this thing. Quite deep. The target was terrible. I thought for sure it was going to be a nail. I've been digging a lot of little curved horseshoe nails today. They sound pretty good on a metal detector. Thought for sure that's what this was going to be too, but there's something round and green down there. It very well might be a button. I have found over 100 buttons here in the past. Let's find out. No shank on this side. No shank on this side. It appears to be... no way. I'll lose my breath here a little bit. Is that what this is? Is this a Nova? A Nova Constellatio? You can see the starburst. Man. Well, unfortunately, this side, you can't really make anything out, but this side, hopefully you can plainly see the starburst. It's not in very good shape, and I think this is my fourth Nova Constellatio, and I think this might be the best condition that I found one. Unbelievably. For some reason, in my area of Vermont, they don't hold up very well. But this is one of, if not the first coin the United States struck. You're looking for colonial currency. This is the one that you hope to find. Now that it's drying out, you might actually get a little bit better details on this. This side again is gone, but the side that matters here looks good. 1780s on this coin. The ties to US history doesn't get much better. That is a day maker, a month maker. Find of the day, easily. Well, the sun just decided to come out, which is a pleasant surprise. It was supposed to snow today. Not complaining. We have a mid-tone here. We're gonna dig this up together. So this is in the middle of the spectrum. It's probably not gonna be a giant silver coin. We're gonna dig it together anyways because where we are, it's more likely gonna be old. All right, let's try this. Oh. Jeez, I thought for a second there it was a little silver coin, but it's not. This is a tiny little button. Very, very nice white bronze. You can see how domed it is in the back. It's a good indication of how old it is. Late 1700s. Beautiful. I actually have two other buttons here that I found. Here's the one that I just found. This one is identical, except the shank is gone. And this one is a completely different design. It is a very, very thin brass, and there was actually a bit of fabric that was over the top of this, but it dissolved as soon as I touched it. And I'm sure we'll find a few more today. So because I'm going slow, I'm being as thorough as possible, and this tiny little piece of brooch, even though it is silver, is more than likely going to ring as a very low number on the metal detector. So I've been digging a ton of nails. I just found something here that's not a nail. We'll get to that in a second. But there was a nail in the hole with it, which was kind of masking the target. And a couple interesting things about them. I found several of these things. Massive. Never seen anything like it. Oblivious to the purpose of this. These two are more modern than many of the things I have found here in the past. I would guess early 1800s for these, but also on this same property, I'm finding rosehead nails. And this was handmade by a blacksmith. They would have drawn out the iron, made it into a square with a point on the end, and then peened over the head. Every little one of these little dimples is where a human hand hit it with a hammer. Pretty incredible. Lastly, interesting fact of the day. I found quite a few of these today as well. And this is obviously a nail that has been totally bent over. From what I understand, this would have been used in a door, right? The head of the nail towards the outside, and then they would have curled over the inside of the nail so that it couldn't be drawn out. If somebody wanted to enter your home, they couldn't just pull the nails out and take the door apart. This would have essentially locked it in a place, and I've heard that's where the phrase "dead as a doornail" comes from, because once you've done this to the nail, it's very difficult to get it straight and usable again. The nail is essentially dead as a doornail. Kind of interesting. So, back to the target that I just found. As I had mentioned, a nail was masking this target. They were in the same hole, and it sounded terrible, but I still took a chance on it. Look at that button. Brass, really high quality brass. You can see how well it's cleaning up with that nice dark patina. Beautiful nails too, if you're into that sort of thing. There's been a lot of these found here in the past. We'll likely find a few more today. Well, right behind me, 10 steps away, I found this little horse tack buckle. It's very obvious that it's just a utilitarian iron. It gets the job done of securing a leather strap. And it's pretty impossible to tell exactly where on the harness it may have been. But the buckle that I just found right here, its purpose is very obvious. See down here, it is not iron. It is a beautiful green brass. And look at the ornamentation on there. Beautiful stippling around the inside. And it looks like maybe on the outside too. Yeah, you can see that there's maybe a flower in the corner. There's some larger bumps in the middle. Absolutely gorgeous fragment of a shoe buckle. And by the size of it, more than likely a lady's. I was going to say a child's, but it's so pretty and fancy, I would probably have to guess that it was on a woman's shoe. Tiny little shoe buckle, like, you know, the quintessential pilgrim footwear, right? These were popular in late 1700s, early 1800s, and then they went out of fashion. People don't really wear these on their shoes anymore, which to me makes finding something like this in the ground from the late 1700s extra special. Immediately know what it is, when it's from, and connect it to the folks who wore it. So cool. Hopefully we can find the rest of it and then we can put it all back together again. I'll keep looking. Well, this is hands down one of my favorite types of places to metal detect. Way up in the mountains, isolated from modern people, old. And one of those reasons is because when metal detecting, there's no modern trash. Although people do come up here, the landowner uses this property to hunt and log, and we can find evidence of that from shell casings from hunting. And what I just found here is actually an entire bullet, powder and lead still intact. And while this is no doubt from within the last 50 years, you can also find evidence of hunters even older from things like this. This is obviously a big lead musket ball. And this is what we would call a bucking ball. And I have yet to find a musket ball with 3 indents where these tiny little bucking balls would sit and be fired all out at the same time, kind of like buckshot. But this is quite a bit older than one of these. Now the folks that used to live up here, maybe they were using it on their own property, hunting deer in their backyard, who knows. But that's a cool find. As is this. Bullets from today and yesterday. Good stuff. Let's keep searching. So given how old this place is and how many times I've been here, making a point to dig absolutely every little squeak that my metal detector makes, because you just absolutely never know. Even things that I might consider trash, other places, because of their age here, might get excited about them. So I just found a little iron artifact, and it happens to be the blade of a very old pocket knife. I don't think that it would be out of the question to assume this was from the 1700s. They certainly had folding knives in the Revolutionary War. I'm not saying this is from the Revolutionary War, could have been. But it has such an awesome shape to it. Fortunately, I don't know where the rest of it is. Might be down there. I'll have to double check. Looking at it, it seems like there's a piece of charcoal fused to it. Maybe it was in a fire of some kind, you can see here. Campfire, burn pit for the house. Maybe it was in the house and the house burnt down. It's hard to say. So cool. I love finding pretty much anything from this time period, late 1700s, colonial period. Man, imagine what they were using this for that long ago. Probably more than opening letters like I use mine for. All right, let's see what else we can find. Roller coaster of emotions just now. Oh man, so I got a target and it was not good. None of the targets I've been digging today have sounded nice and clear. Probably because I already found all of those nice clear targets on previous visits here. This was crunchy and in and out. I dug it up and it was a horse tack buckle. Finding quite a few of these today. Ah, darn it. Started filling the hole back in, rechecked, and out of the hole, way over here, under the leaf, was what I thought was the rest of the Luckenbooth brooch. It's a little piece of silver. Look at this. Wow. Beautiful. And I said, oh my gosh, I did it. I found the rest of it. And I went and looked at the photo, and it's not even close to being the same. This is another heart-shaped brooch. And I sent a photo of it to the guy I always send photos to, a good friend of mine who is probably the most knowledgeable in things from this time period and other time periods that I know. And he said, no, it's just another one. There's no crown, but it's another, he called it a shirt buckle, functional shirt buckle that hold their shirts closed back then. Unfortunately, is also broken. The bottom is gone. But this would have been another heart buckle without a crown. Silver. Absolutely incredible. Man, now I have to find the rest of 2. Holy smokes. The stars had to align in so many different ways for me to be here today to find this. Just with the warm December weather, it was supposed to rain and snow today, but it didn't. Incredible. Man, well, we'll look for the rest of this one. The rest of the other one. All right, folks, well, maybe you can tell by the sky behind me, it's getting dark and I need to get out of the mountains while I still can. What a day. You know, I came here looking for a tiny little fragment of a silver brooch and I found another one, also broken. What are the odds? I've got my very small pile of treasures all laid out here. Let's take a look. All right, well, it is a small pile of treasures today, but a few of those things are truly treasures. Starting in the back, we have our folding knife blade, no doubt from the end of the 1700s. Wound up with 8 buttons, pretty much all different. A couple musket balls, a couple pieces of lead pewter, more than likely utensils. And then the 3 stars of the show here. We have our fragment of a shoe buckle. Unfortunately, I was not able to find any more of that. We have our Nova Constellatio colonial coin. And then last but not least, a second broken luckenbooth brooch, which I certainly prefer over the small fragment to complete my first one, but now we just have more to search for, I guess. All right, folks, well, I want to thank you again for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you next week right here for another adventure up here in the mountains of Vermont.